Have you ever noticed how some people seem to shift uncomfortably when you enter a room, even though you haven't said a word? Or perhaps you've experienced situations where conversations suddenly become stilted and awkward in your presence, as if people are walking on eggshells around you. What you're witnessing isn't coincidence, and it's certainly not your imagination. You're experiencing the profound impact of high vibrational energy on those who operate at lower frequencies. And today we're going to explore exactly what happens when your elevated spiritual state makes others deeply uncomfortable. Your high vibration energy is like a bright light in a dimly lit room. While some people are drawn to that light and feel inspired by its warmth, others find it overwhelmingly intense. They might not understand why they feel unsettled around you, but their subconscious mind recognizes that your energy frequency is operating on a completely different level than theirs. This creates an internal friction that manifests as discomfort, avoidance, or even unexplained hostility toward you. When we talk about high vibrational energy, we're referring to a state of being where your consciousness operates from love, compassion, authenticity, and inner peace. You've likely done significant inner work, healing old wounds, releasing limiting beliefs, and aligning with your true purpose. This spiritual evolution raises your energetic frequency, creating a powerful field around you that affects everyone you encounter, whether they realize it or not. The uncomfortable reactions you witness aren't personal attacks against you. Instead, they're defensive responses triggered by the stark contrast between your elevated state and their current level of consciousness. Your presence becomes a mirror, reflecting back to them aspects of themselves they're not ready to confront. This can include suppressed emotions, unhealed traumas, unfulfilled dreams, or the gap between who they truly are and who they're pretending to be. Understanding these dynamics is crucial for anyone walking the path of spiritual awakening. Too often, highly conscious individuals begin to doubt themselves when they encounter negative reactions from others. They might start dimming their light or compromising their authenticity to make others feel more comfortable. But this approach serves no one. Your high vibration is a gift, not just to yourself, but to the collective consciousness of humanity. The first thing that happens when your high vibrational energy makes people uncomfortable is that they begin exhibiting avoidance behaviors. You might notice people cutting conversations short when you approach, or they suddenly become busy when you're around. This isn't necessarily conscious behavior on their part. Their subconscious mind recognizes that your energy challenges their comfort zone, and the easiest response is simply to create physical or emotional distance. This avoidance can manifest in subtle ways. Perhaps colleagues skip lunch invitations when you're included, or family members seem to find excuses to leave gatherings early when you arrive. You might observe that people who were once chatty and open become reserved and guarded in your presence. They're not intentionally trying to hurt you, but rather protecting themselves from an energy that feels too intense for their current state of being. The discomfort they feel isn't about you personally, it's about what your energy represents. Your high vibration carries frequencies of truth, authenticity, and spiritual awareness. For someone operating from fear, insecurity, or emotional numbness, encountering this energy can feel threatening. It's as if your presence is asking them to step up to a higher version of themselves, and they're not ready for that level of responsibility or self-awareness. You might also notice that people become unusually critical or judgmental toward you. This is another defense mechanism triggered by your high vibrational state. When someone feels internally challenged by your energy, they often project this discomfort outward by finding fault with you. They might criticize your choices, question your motives, or make snide comments about your lifestyle or beliefs. This criticism often focuses on the very qualities that make you spiritually evolved. They might call you too sensitive, too intense, or too idealistic. They could mock your spiritual practices, dismiss your insights as naive, or suggest that you're living in a fantasy world. What they're really expressing is their own resistance to the higher consciousness that your presence represents. The second major thing that happens is that people begin to feel emotionally triggered around you, often without understanding why. Your high vibrational energy acts like a tuning fork, causing their suppressed emotions and unresolved issues to vibrate at a frequency that brings them closer to the surface. This can result in unexpected emotional outbursts, mood swings, or defensive reactions that seem disproportionate to the situation. You might witness someone becoming inexplicably angry or upset during what should be a normal conversation. They could suddenly become tearful, anxious, or agitated without any apparent cause. What's happening is that your energy is activating their shadow aspects, the parts of themselves they've been trying to ignore or suppress. Your presence is creating an opportunity for healing, but they experience it as discomfort because they're not ready to face these deeper issues. This emotional triggering can also manifest as projection. People might accuse you of being the source of their discomfort, blaming you for making them feel bad, or claiming that you're somehow manipulating their emotions. They're unconsciously recognizing that your presence is connected to their emotional upheaval, but they lack the self-awareness to understand that the real source of their discomfort lies within themselves. Sometimes you'll encounter people who become almost obsessively focused on proving you wrong or diminishing your perspective. They might engage in lengthy debates, constantly challenge your viewpoints, or go out of their way to present contradictory evidence to whatever you're discussing. This behavior stems from their subconscious recognition that your energy represents a truth they're not ready to accept about themselves or their life situation. The third significant thing that occurs is that your high vibrational energy begins revealing the masks and facades that people wear. Most individuals operate from various personas designed to protect their ego and maintain their place in social hierarchies. Your authentic energy makes it difficult for these artificial constructs to remain stable, and people begin to feel exposed or vulnerable around you. You possess an almost supernatural ability to see through superficial interactions and recognize the genuine person beneath the social mask. This intuitive perception isn't something you necessarily try to develop. It's a natural byproduct of your elevated consciousness. However, people can sense that you see them more clearly than they're comfortable with, even if you never voice your observations. This transparency can be deeply unsettling for someone who has built their identity around maintaining certain images or keeping specific aspects of themselves hidden. Your presence reminds them of the energy it takes to maintain these facades, and suddenly, their usual social strategies feel exhausting or ineffective. They might feel like they can't be their usual selves around you because your energy doesn't resonate with anything artificial or inauthentic. You'll notice that people either become more genuine in your presence, dropping their usual pretenses and showing you their real selves, or they become even more exaggerated in their artificial behaviors, almost overcompensating to maintain their masks. Both reactions indicate that your energy is having a profound impact on their ability to maintain their usual social personas. The fourth thing that happens is that your high vibrational energy challenges people's limiting beliefs and comfort zones. Your very existence becomes proof that there are other ways of thinking, feeling, and being in the world. For someone deeply invested in their current belief systems or life patterns, your presence can feel like a threat to everything they think they know about reality. You embody possibilities that they might have given up on or convinced themselves were impossible. Perhaps you found peace after trauma, created abundance from nothing, or maintained optimism despite difficult circumstances. Your living example contradicts their limiting beliefs about what's possible, and this creates cognitive dissonance that can be deeply uncomfortable. This challenge to their worldview can manifest as skepticism, cynicism, or outright hostility toward your perspective. They might insist that your positive outlook is naive, that your spiritual beliefs are delusions, or that your success is due to luck rather than consciousness. These reactions are protective mechanisms designed to preserve their existing belief systems without having to confront the possibility that they might be limiting themselves. Sometimes people will go to great lengths to prove that your way of being is somehow wrong or unsustainable. They might point out potential problems with your approach, predict future difficulties, or share stories of others who supposedly failed attempting similar paths. What they're really doing is trying to convince themselves that their current limitations are necessary and unchangeable. The fifth major thing that occurs is that your high vibrational energy begins attracting synchronicities and meaningful coincidences that others find difficult to explain or accept. Your elevated consciousness creates a stronger connection to the flow of universal energy, resulting in experiences that seem almost magical to those operating from lower vibrational states. You might find that you frequently encounter exactly the right people at the right time, receive unexpected opportunities, or experience remarkable coincidences that support your path. While you recognize these as natural results of your alignment with higher consciousness, others might view them with suspicion, envy, or disbelief. This can create additional discomfort for people around you because your experiences challenge their understanding of how the world works. If they believe that life is primarily struggle and that good things only come through hard work or luck, your seemingly effortless manifestations can be deeply disturbing to their worldview. They might attribute your positive experiences to privilege, deception, or pure chance, rather than acknowledging the role of consciousness in creating reality. Some people become resentful of your apparent good fortune, especially if they're struggling in similar areas of their own lives. Your success becomes a reminder of their own limitations and unfulfilled potential. The sixth thing that happens is that people begin to feel judged by your presence, even when you're making no judgments whatsoever. Your high vibrational energy naturally emanates qualities like acceptance, compassion, and unconditional love. However, for someone carrying guilt, shame, or unresolved regrets, encountering this energy can trigger intense feelings of self-judgment. Your peaceful presence becomes a mirror reflecting their internal turmoil. Without you saying or doing anything, they begin comparing their inner state to the calm centeredness they perceive in you. This comparison often leads to feelings of inadequacy, unworthiness, or shame about their own struggles and imperfections. You might notice people making preemptive apologies around you, explaining or justifying their choices before you've asked any questions, or assuming that you disapprove of their lifestyle or decisions. They're projecting their own self-judgment onto you because your energy reminds them of standards they wish they could meet, but believe they're falling short of. This dynamic can be particularly challenging because your natural inclination is to offer reassurance and acceptance, but sometimes this only intensifies their discomfort. Your kindness and understanding can feel overwhelming to someone who hasn't learned to extend the same compassion to themselves. The seventh significant thing that occurs is that your high vibrational energy begins exposing the energy drains and toxic patterns in people's lives. Your presence highlights the contrast between life-affirming choices and energy-depleting behaviors. People around you might suddenly become aware of how certain relationships, habits, or environments are negatively affecting their well-being. This awareness can be uncomfortable because it requires them to acknowledge that they have some degree of control over their circumstances. It's often easier to remain unconscious of these patterns than to face the responsibility of making necessary changes. Your energy doesn't allow for the same level of unconsciousness they might be used to maintaining. You might witness people becoming defensive about their choices, even when you haven't questioned them. They could start explaining why they stay in unfulfilling jobs, maintain difficult relationships, or engage in self-destructive behaviors. Your mere presence triggers their internal knowing that these situations aren't serving their highest good. Sometimes people will actually ask for your advice or perspective, but then become resistant or argumentative when you offer authentic insights. They're seeking validation for their current choices rather than genuine guidance for change. Your high vibrational energy makes it difficult for you to offer anything less than truth, which can be exactly what they don't want to hear. The eighth thing that happens is that your elevated energy field begins affecting the collective energy of groups you're part of. Your presence can shift the entire dynamic of social gatherings, work meetings, or family interactions. Sometimes this shift is positive, elevating the conversation and bringing out the best in others. However, it can also create tension when your energy doesn't match the existing group dynamic. You might notice that superficial conversations naturally deepen when you participate, or that people begin sharing more vulnerable and authentic parts of themselves. While this can create beautiful connections, it can also make others uncomfortable if they prefer to keep interactions light and surface level. Group dynamics that rely on gossip, complaining, or negative bonding might fall flat in your presence. Your energy doesn't feed these lower vibrational activities, and people might feel like their usual social strategies aren't working. This can result in you being excluded from certain groups or conversations because your presence doesn't support the energy they want to maintain. You're not intentionally disrupting these dynamics, but your authentic energy naturally elevates whatever environment you enter. Some people appreciate this influence, while others find it constraining or challenging to their preferred way of interacting. The ninth major thing that occurs is that your high vibrational energy triggers spiritual awakenings or consciousness shifts in others, whether they're ready for these experiences or not. Your presence can act as a catalyst for profound internal changes in the people around you. While this is ultimately beneficial for their growth, the initial stages of awakening can be disorienting and uncomfortable. People might start questioning long-held beliefs, feeling called to make major life changes, or experiencing spiritual experiences they don't understand. If they're not prepared for these shifts, they might blame you for disrupting their previously stable worldview. Your energy becomes associated with the chaos and uncertainty that often accompanies spiritual growth. You could find that people have intense dreams after spending time with you, experience unusual synchronicities following your interactions, or suddenly feel compelled to examine areas of their lives they've been avoiding. While these are positive developments from a spiritual perspective, they can initially feel overwhelming or frightening to someone unprepared for consciousness expansion. Some individuals might actively avoid you because they sense that your presence initiates changes they're not ready to embrace. They intuitively understand that spending time with you will challenge their current way of being, and they choose the familiarity of their existing limitations over the uncertainty of growth. The 10th and final major thing that happens is that your high vibrational energy creates a natural selection process in your relationships and social circles. Your elevated consciousness attracts people who are ready for growth, while naturally repelling those who are committed to remaining unconscious. This process can be emotionally challenging, but ultimately serves your highest good. You'll find that some relationships naturally fade away as people realize they can't maintain their usual patterns around you. Rather than adapting their behavior or doing their own inner work, they choose to minimize contact. While this can feel like rejection, it's actually the universe helping you align with connections that support your continued evolution. Simultaneously, you'll begin attracting individuals who are excited by your energy and inspired by your way of being. These people feel energized rather than depleted by your presence, and they actively seek opportunities to spend time with you. They recognize your high vibration as something they want to cultivate in their own lives. This natural sorting process helps ensure that your energy is spent on relationships that are mutually beneficial, rather than constantly trying to make others comfortable with your authentic self. It's a divine mechanism that protects your energy while creating space for more aligned connections to enter your life. Understanding these 10 dynamics can help you navigate the challenges of maintaining high vibrational energy in a world where many people operate from lower consciousness. Remember that the discomfort others feel around you isn't a reflection of anything wrong with you. Instead, it's evidence of the powerful transformative energy you carry. Your role isn't to dim your light to make others comfortable, but rather to maintain your authentic vibration while approaching others with compassion and understanding. Some people will be ready to rise up to meet your energy, while others will need more time before they're prepared for that level of consciousness. The key is to remain centered in your truth while allowing others the space to respond to your energy in whatever way serves their current level of growth. Your high vibration is a gift to the world, even when it initially creates discomfort. Trust in the process and continue shining your light, knowing that you're contributing to the collective awakening of consciousness on this planet.